Okay, I hope we're live here. This is my first Be Live broadcast. So I am so thrilled to be here with the indefatigable Cindy Ashton, who is the host of the award-winning show Cindy Uncorked. She is internationally renowned as being one of the preeminent speech givers and educators, and I'm so thrilled to have her here. I like to attract women on purpose. This is definitely a woman on purpose. She's got a book that's going to be coming out. She's got a new high-profile business she's spinning off, and she's got a super exciting live event coming up shortly. So I will, without further ado, introduce you for a big warm welcome to Cindy Ashton. So thank you for joining us, my dear.
Cindy, oh my gosh, I am so freaking excited to be here with you. I feel like the minute I met you, I'm like, oh, I'm in love with her. I don't swing her way, but I'm in love with her. We instantly, it's like my soul knew your soul and your soul knew my soul.
No surprise for both named Cindy. I think there's something to that.
That's so true.
So I want you to tell us, because I know so many people now, I mean, the whole speaking gig has become a big industry. And I know this is something you've been doing long before it became really fashionable. And I know we've talked before, and I think a lot of people are struggling getting onto the world stage as a speaker. And I think some of what we're being taught is not exactly the right way. So tell us your thoughts about that.
Yeah, so what's interesting is I have been in the speaking world for over 20 years. I'm kind of a fossil, but my skin still looks fabulous.
Absolutely, you're gorgeous, darling.
Yeah, so thank you. So, before the 2008 crash, just a little history, it was all of us high-paid speakers. That was the industry. And then the 2008 crash happened, and a couple of trends started on this, in my opinion, great and horrible route. That all of a sudden, two things happened. People said, well, everyone's struggling with their businesses. You should go out and speak to promote your business, which I think is fantastic. But there's a difference between someone who's a seasoned professional who makes $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a gig and someone who's promoting for the business. But the bigger trend that's actually the thing that I think is horrible, to be honest, is the message that's being put out there. If you have overcome something, if you have an inspirational story, you should put your story out there. You should write a book, and people will hire you for coaching. They'll hire you for paid speaking engagements, and you're going to have a whole career. And so I'm seeing the majority of coaches pitching this, and it's actually not the truth. And people are spending tens of thousands of dollars, and they're not actually able to monetize that. And it just drives me crazy because there's just such myths around this, and everyone is trying to be so loving and encouraging that people will not say, hey, can you represent me? Or I don't need a speaker trainer because everyone says I'm inspiring. And I'm like, but you're not making money. So they're either finding you inspiring and there's a missing piece, or everyone's just being too nice and not telling you the truth. So to me, I mean, I'm a true professional. The clients I attract are true professionals. We understand that it's a profession, and I'm not blaming anybody, but I feel like it's gone to the dogs because of the amount of lies of what the speaking industry really is. The professional speaking industry.
Now tell us a bit about that. Like, when you talk about the myths, I think that's really the crux of it. So tell us, what are some of the myths around the speaking? Because there's just so much noise out there right now, Cindy, with people pushing, as you say, tens of thousands of dollars in programming and promising these grand results. So tell us some of the myths to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I might use a couple of examples of programs that I've heard of that's being sold. So one program that is being sold to hundreds of people a year costs $8,000. And they're like, we're going to get we're going to give you a salesperson who's going to call 300 leads for you and help you get booked. But they don't vet their speakers to know if they have a sellable, what I call platform, if they're actually sellable. So here's the myth, right? So these people are spending this money and they go, oh, sorry, you didn't get booked. And then people lose $8,000, but they took them on before checking if they're actually sellable or not. So the problem is that the paid, because of all these businesses going and speaking for free because they don't care about making money, everybody's speaking for free now to make money, to sell their books, sell their coaching, sell their business, whatever. That a lot more conferences are just not paying anymore. They're just not, because they're, well, why would I hire this person when I can get this for free from this other person? So there's not a lot of paying gigs out there anymore, except in the corporate market. So the person who has the amazing overcoming story of abuse, divorce, cancer, whatever they've overcome, I am like, cheers to you. And corporate doesn't care that you've overcome whatever you've overcome.
Yeah.
It's true, right? Can you imagine going to a VP of sales and say, please let me tell your people my cancer story? And they're going to go, and how is that going to increase our sales quotas? And so people are literally spending $8,000 for this one program, for example, where they don't even have their marketing materials together. They don't know what their positioning is. They have a generic message of being inspirational or helping people get healthy or helping them have a better business, but they don't have an actual platform, a strong point of view that's actually sellable to the industry events, certain types of conferences and corporate. That's what's paying right now. And it's, or I have people come to me here like, well, I just spent $14,000 on a year-long mastermind. And I'm like, great, what's your 3 core talk titles and who are they for? They're like, oh, I can speak on anything. And I'm like, so can a million other speakers. You just spent $14,000 and nobody helped you to figure out what your platform is. If you don't have that solid platform, and then I see people spend $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to produce a book. And I'm so proud of them. That's a huge feat. But they fall flat because they do this Amazon launch. They hit number 1 because a bunch of people bought their book, but they have no longevity. People are going rah, rah, rah for a week or 2, or maybe even just a day. And then they're like, well, how come people aren't hiring me? And I can tell you that people are not getting hired for a few reasons. The first is because your book might be inspirational, but again, the messaging, the point of view, and who the target market hasn't been really developed, and you've been sold to tell your story versus tell what your deepest truths are. And this is what really bothers me. Like, you're more than your story. Are you basing your entire worth of who you are and what the impact is on your life based on your story? I'm like, because I look at somebody like you, who's a client, and you have several truly amazing stories, but you also have a rich background and deep wisdom and so much to offer. And if we only focused on your overcoming story, first of all, it will be harder to sell you. And secondly, we're missing out on what the truest gift is to the world. And so it bothers me that people are being sold to tell their stories when they're so freaking brilliant. I'm like, please just let me work with you and come really pull that deeper wisdom out, because they're just not sellable and they're losing their money and their hearts are breaking. There's my rant.
Yeah, I love that. No, not a rant. It's much needed. I mean, nobody's speaking that truth right now, and everybody's passing on all these names. And I know a lot of people who are trying to get a leg up in the industry, and they're just grabbing onto the first lifeline they think they see. One of the things I've really noticed lately, Cindy, too, and I'd love your perspective on it, because I'm finding at a lot of these conferences that I'm going to, some of the really big names as well, it suddenly becomes super popular to always cry in the middle of these stories and do the big so-called authentic vulnerability. So it kind of rubs me the wrong way because it seems so inauthentic to me. And I'd love your views on that.
Yeah. So it really bothers me as well, because I love the idea of authenticity, but I think that the majority of people trying to be authentic are trying.
Exactly.
And there you have it, Facebook Live over. But it's also like, but I mean, they're trying. And then I see these people learning speaking skills from people who are telling them to stand here, pose here, memorize a script. And if you stand tall and do a speech effect and project your voice, and I'm like, wow, you know nothing about voice. I am a former opera singer, still an opera singer, just not, I'm not actually in an opera company or anything right now, but they don't understand connection to body, connection to voice. To me, being authentic is totally being yourself, which sounds truthful, but no one's really doing it for the most part. There's very few people. Like, I just spoke at a conference a few weeks ago and I got the highest ratings, and there was like 20 or 30 speakers. And they said, what we loved about Cindy is that she was just so herself and so comfortable in who she is. And she was really about the audience, and she wasn't trying to sell.
Love that. Love that. Okay.
But